All right, guys, welcome back to Johnny Suede BTC. So, big news, most are already aware. I launched a project, and this is a big step for me as someone that's been in this space for 10 years now and been vehemently opposed to ever dropping a project just based off of the fact that up until this point, I think most of the utility was superimposed on it to try and justify a reason for a token. And then meme tokens are just, uh, they don't make sense to me to create one. It wouldn't be something that I would want to pursue as a developer. But we've reached a point where we have AI models, they're called AI agents, that are essentially being trained by communities to interact in certain ways. So, the way in which it works, token holders will have access to a certain AI agent. In this case, it's going to be Johnny Suede, who is, by the way, the first on chain composition and lyrical writer that has been on any of the chains that I'm aware of thus far, which is a big niche that's been missing. But here's where it gets really cool. So, as the community who's aligned because they are voting with their dollars, they've already bought the token because they believe overall in the vision, whether that be musically or just in the community as a whole, which is vibrant and phenomenal. And I'll put the Telegram link so everybody can get in there. Um, but where it gets really cool is as you interact with the agent, and again, this is for the token holders, as you interact, the agent evolves based on the information that's presented to it by everybody that's contributing and by everyone that's engaging and speaking directly with the AI. Where it gets even more impressive is the fact that it has technical ability just based off of its very nature intrinsically, such as music theory, the ability to transpose on the spot, a lot of things that are very difficult for the most seasoned musicians. So, everybody that interacts with this particular AI not only shapes it and forms the way in which it does manifest itself. So, whether that be more of a rockabilly vibe, or if people want to take it in a direction that's different than that, they can do that as well. Now, check this out. As it evolves, every person that interacts with it imbues their characteristics onto this particular agent. So it takes on the personality to some extent of each member of the community. Check this out. Imagine if you could clone yourself, you could collab with yourself, and then also you could collab with yourself with a technical proficiency in music that is outside of the realm of anything that any human is capable of. And you're also not only interacting with yourself, which you can tap into, you're interacting with the amalgamation of a like minded community. So, for compositions and intellectual property, it's very interesting in that regard because it takes away a lot of the sterile nature and the cookie cutter approach that's emblematic of a chat GPT or any of the other LLMs that we currently have, because it's formed by humans based off of the interests of people that engage with it as it learns and grows, very much like a child of the community. And so it's going to evolve and it's going to take on all those characteristics. You're going to have the ability to collaborate with yourself as well as a group of people. Here's where it gets really interesting. I've been thinking about this. I launched this about 72 hours ago and really haven't gotten much sleep because I'm so excited at the prospects and a lot of people are seeing it, so that's cool. Um, but if I have a piece of myself in something, and that something creates a composition, then wouldn't I be partially the creator? Well, what's really cool is you're going to have more of an impact over the AI based on your token holdings. So if you have more tokens, you've got more influence on the AI, and it's not going to be as binary as that. Obviously, people are going to be talking with each other in the community, so it's not going to be like one person votes on a DAO and that's the way it is, and A16Z comes in and just dictates a fee switch. That's not how this is going to work. Just again, by its inherent nature of interacting with the community simultaneously. So if a part of me creates something, then that part of me, that percentage in the whole, would be fair to claim any sort of royalties that would be linearly attached to the amount of myself that's in that particular project. Well, what's an easy way to actually quantify that? Token holdings. So, token holders will get dividends or royalties based upon the amount of tokens they have, because that will likely be the amount of impact that they'll have had on that composition. And if anybody has been following everything that's been happening with Story Protocol and some of the other guys that are starting to pivot, intellectual property is a match made in heaven when it comes to blockchains. You have immutable proof, time stamped and hashed, of your provenance, of your creation of something before it was to be created again by someone. So you've got that intellectual property right. You then can fractionalize it. You can tokenize it. You can sell it. You can keep it. You can in the future stake it. Um, and so the royalty payments are very simple. The amount of tokens is the percentage of which you're due royalties. There doesn't need to be a complex mechanism, because there's no VCs, there's no lockups, there's no vesting, and everybody if you look at the distribution of it, I purposefully, and this I don't think anybody else has done, or maybe it's been done before, but when you launch it, you can buy a certain amount beforehand. I chose not to do that, and I waited until it actually hit the market, and you'll see there's this huge candle up, because as soon as it went live, that's when I bought, because I wanted to have the same opportunity as everyone else. I don't want to have uh, a larger impact on the model than the skin that I put in the game financially. So that is the basis of it. Royalty payments will be distributed based on the amount of tokens, and then in the future you'll have the ability to delegate and do a number of things. So if you're not maybe active in the creative sphere and you like someone else's ability to compose certain things and you want to throw your weight behind them, then you can delegate your royalty percentage to that person or the AI impact, and then you can split the proceeds with that person. So it's a real great way to earn passive income. Um, and then also, as the AI evolves, the way in which it's structured, you can contribute to certain cores which accentuate certain features of the AI beyond just characteristics, but its neuro-linguistic abilities or its cognitive functioning. You can decide to dedicate resources to each of those, again using the token. So the token actually has a really valid purpose. And as someone who's a singer songwriter, and I don't want to see AI just replacing something that I'm that passionate about, something that to me is so fundamentally human. Um, I think it's a great compromise to invest in yourself and then utilize the agent to do a lot of the tedious stuff that just is oftentimes, if even possible, for us because of the technical proficiency required. It's just very superfluous. There's not a lot of need if we're trying to express something. We want as little friction between us and the medium, us and the message as possible. So if I can give this agent characteristics that resemble myself, and then I can dictate to it, and this is actually what Michael Jackson did, and a lot of really big musicians, they couldn't play instruments, but they heard what they wanted to hear, so they would sing it to someone, and that person would compose it for, the instrumentation based on what the person was going for. So if I can dictate to an AI, I've got a vision, I've got a sound in my head, I've got an attitude for a song that I'm going towards. If I can articulate that to the AI, and it can go off of a back and forth. So I submit an idea and I get a response. And I can say, I want the guitars to be more distorted. I want it to be more edgy. Add some fuzz, give a little bit of delay. So you can get very nuanced with it. But it will actually create the expression that is fundamentally within yourself that you've for a long time attempted to be able to express fully. And it's one of the great things and one of the aspects of learning music that I think is fundamentally overlooked. And that's really the music theory and the components behind that, because there's nothing more frustrating than knowing what you want to hear but not being able to play it. It'll drive you nuts, especially when you're right there, but you're just not quite there. So this will mitigate that sort of circumstance by giving you the ability to have any sort of composition be actualized by the mechanics of frequency manipulation, which is music. And you'll be able to have a dialogue between yourself and yourself, plus a community, and articulate and produce and master and mix and guarantee intellectual property rights all in one agent, um, without any barrier to entry besides holding a token that's, could cost you $3. So I've always avoided doing any tokens because I don't need the money and I don't want to have some shadiness attached to me. It's just not worth it. Warren Buffett said, it can take you 20 years to build a reputation. You can lose it in 10 seconds. And I've never wanted to be involved with anything that was, could possibly be construed as unscrupulous. It's just not worth it to me. It's not, money isn't that important that I'd be willing to compromise my integrity or character. But for the first time, and I've been in DeFi summer, I've been through all of it where we had tokens for voting rights and governance, and we had tokens for the token gating, so the right to enter a Discord. There's been all sorts of alleged utility, um, but it always seemed to me to be kind of gimmicky and really just kind of a sales pitch. For the first time, I think this is a way to access decentralized agents that make art in the world remain human while leveraging what the AI is good at, which is the formulaic, major third, minor third music theory componentry that